Hey guys, Luxker here, and okay, let's cut to the chase. Xenoblade 4 is here, and it's now called Xenoblade Genesis, which is not even part of the actual Xenoblade Chronicles games in particular. The Xenoblade Chronicles games have now concluded, and now we're in a new era of Xenoblade with Xenoblade Genesis. Directed by Tetsuya Takahashi once again. Yeah, Tetsuya Takahashi really gonna be directing these Xenoblade games all the time. But a few more details before we get started is one, the music is being provided once again by Yasunori Mitsuda as the lead composer, as well as Manami Kiyota and Miriam Abanasser as co-composers. Yeah, see, Miriam Abanasser is yet another composer here. The main artists are also new. Masatsugu Saito is no longer the character designer for Xenoblade Genesis. Instead, it's being co-designed by Mai Yonayama and Paolo, who made the designs for Ino and Masha in Xenoblade 3. And I'm personally really excited with what both of them have to do with the character designs. Like, they already look really good, and we'll definitely be talking about it when we get through it in the video. So, the main purpose of this video is to basically analyze the video of itself, because I have a lot of points to talk about regarding the themes and plot of the trailer itself, which are typical Xeno stuff, but it's also pretty interesting to note like what might come up next time and maybe form theories about them. I will also go over my thoughts about like the performance of the game, as well as like how I feel about the actual game entirely, because I have some thoughts, alright. So before we get started, I want to mention that like the text displayed on the screen is actually out of context, so it actually does not appear like in the cutscene itself that it's played in. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. But let's go ahead and continue here.
Anima.
So we have a look at the new world right here, as which is called Anshar. Anshar is based off of a Mesopotamian god, which may or may not have like some kind of Gnostic roots as well. Basically, a lot of Mesopotamian gods have a lot of like similarities with the main three religions in and of itself. But Anshar is a really interesting name to come up with this world in particular. But here is, the first bit of text is Anima. So, as you all know, or if you've seen any of my videos of the series, Anima is basically the female portion in males, basically, whereas the opposite of it is Animus, which is the male portion in females. Anima and Animus are very synonymous in the Xeno series, dating all the way back to Xenogears, and it's also a Jungian term as well. Carl Jung based the theory of the Anima and Animus around the Unus Mundus, which means one world in Latin. But what he found was that, like, the whole entire world under the Unus Mundus has, like, what's called the collective unconscious, where people have the similar thoughts within each other. This is also tackled in the Xeno series. But the main thought about the Anima and Animus portion is that, like, in order to become whole again, you must have like an equal amount of both Anima and Animus in a human to become more mature. And the way how Anima is presented in the world of Anshar here is pretty interesting, because Anima in particular is basically what was the main conflict between life and death in the series, which also has a harmonious relationship as well. But let's go ahead and continue to see what Anima's main conflict is all about. Yes, so water, fire, and wind are pretty fundamental parts of this Anima system, if they're just main elements or anything like that. But they're also fundamental in a lot of the real world's religions as well. But like Animus, which doesn't make a presence at all in this trailer, another element is not present as well, which is another fundamental element, and that is Earth. What the heck happened to Earth? Why is it not even in part of the elements that are part of the Anima? Which kind of leaves a lot of thought in general about like how this world works in particular. Also, this enemy right here, these enemies, these Armu-like enemies, they're pretty much brand new. And we can also see like these Ansels right here. that look really pink. They have this, like, long build-like thing. This is definitely not, like what Ansel typically looks like, which is more brownish. Also, we see, like, these crystals that are jutting out that kind of remind me a lot about, the Mechonis rings in particular. We see a lot of Mechonis rings just everywhere in the Xeno series, and we see a similar imagery right here in the form of crystals. We'll get to crystals a lot more in this trailer. So, when I saw this town, like, the first time I saw it, it made me wonder if we're gonna get, like, towns based off of, like, the elements of this world with water, fire, and wind. And possibly even more towns when we get more information on the game as well. So now, okay, yeah, this seems to be the water town as well, and we get some, like, people right here too. Now, right here is basically what the world revolves around here. Right here you see that there's 5 stars right here. However, in a lot of the marketing material for this game, the plot is basically like the world of Anima revolves around 6 stars. Now, I'm not sure why it's showing like 5 stars right here, but later on in the trailer, we get to see even more stars build up in this world. So, it's very interesting to see that. But I can also be misconstrued as well. Now, I really like how the visuals look right here in the trailer. Like, you see, like, real, like, battles in particular, just... Yeah, it looks really good. Like, the resolution is, like, spectacular, like, when I first saw it. It literally blew my mind that a Xenoblade game can look like that. And the same thing with the frame rate. It looks basically really incredible. I'm really looking forward to playing this on my Switch too. Just really great stuff and at the end of the day, so... So yeah, Anima is wielded by, people who are able to wield it, called Veseli. Now, in the Japanese, translation, actually, these people are actually called vessels, like Vessels of Anima. If you've ever played Xenosaga, you know what those are. So, it's very interesting that they would show that, so... but later on, we'll get to see how Veseli are able to use Anima. So this sword right here, like, going into the plot a little bit more, so I'm gonna go ahead and introduce this character right here, Eleanor, who has a blade right here, which I honestly think this blade is kind of, like, personal to her. Like she wanted to use this blade just to be able to use the power of the Anima, basically, just to uphold it for herself, and yeah, basically about it. So, and now we get on to the main hub area for this game, which is called Lakos. Lakos means in ancient Greek white or like bright, which is kind of like what. If you think about, like, in terms of Xenoblade 3, white is basically used as a designation of Agnes. Well, Agnes is also denoted with her colonies being Greek letters. You see the point here. We get, like, some kind of, like, Greek, inspired, or not just Greek, ancient Greek inspired area that literally just means white. So I actually looked up what the opposite of white is, which is black, in ancient Greek. And there's a lot of translations for it, but the closest I can come up with is Milan as like a counterpart name, which is basically black in ancient Greek. So here's the thing: we have like a lot of opposites right here. We don't know what the animus is. We don't know what the word for black in ancient Greek is, which denotes like another thing right here. As well as what happened with the earth element. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this plot that I'm very intrigued of what's going to be coming up, and these names really help reinforce it. Or it can also be like the ancient Hebrew or Latin word for black. So I also want to point out this rose window in particular. So it has like these 4 like leaves right here, and like these little like heart-shaped circles right here. Kind of reminds you of like kind of like a not really like a rose, but kind of like a sunflower almost, like a four-petaled sunflower in a way. I'm not sure what this plant in particular is, but you can definitely like drop in the comments. But I always think it looks kind of like a sunflower. So, basically, like it's pointing in for all like the four cardinal directions here, which is kind of interesting to me because usually rose windows don't have that for the most part. But there in a few more cutscenes, which I'll show later on. I think I'll just show it right here. Yeah, like the north part of the rose window seems to be lighting up right here, but the other ones lit up like differently. I don't know if this is actually like intentional, like the rose window right here has like some significance in general to the actual academy of itself, but I can't help but wonder like why it's designed like that. You can also see the insignia of the Lake Coast Academy right here, which has has that same symbol on the top. So it makes me wonder like what those four petals actually mean. So, all right, but let's go ahead and continue on here. So now it's time to get on to my next point about the Anima, which take the form of Crystones. So these Crystones right here are basically like the crystals, or in general, or where Anima is being put in. It's very interesting to note that like Takahashi wants us to pay attention to like objects, because Xenoblade 3 characters are interpreted as objects in particular. And it makes me wonder that, like, if what these vessels of Anima represent in this world. Not saying that, but I will get to, like, another theory later on about, like, where this takes place in. But it seems like objects that is something Takahashi wants us to think about. And vessels of Anima, or not the vessels of Anima, the Anima Crystones are what represent, like some of the other characters that were part of Origin in this instance. So, a lot of people have pointed this out as well. A lot of people pointed this out thinking that this is like Numa's sword right here. I do not know, I don't really like to think that this is actually like Numa just taking the place of it, because like it crystallizes into an actual like formation in particular. And, like, this is, like, what people latch on to say, like, oh, the Xenoblade trilogy is connected to this game because this is Numa's sword. Well, we don't really know still what this even is. I mean, it does kind of look like a sword, but, I mean, like, sword shapes can definitely be different than this one, so... Oh, yeah. So the Crystones come in, like, many colors. Like, there's the purple one that we have here. There's also, like, red and, like, blue Crystones that come in there. But we, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what element they correspond to. Like, does wind correspond to purple? I mean, red obviously corresponds to fire. And I think it's raining outside, so I apologize if there's any, like, noise out there. But yeah, as it says in this text down here, it says that, Veseli Crystones represent the thoughts and actions of the characters in the story, which, at the end of which, when I get into, it amplifies their powers. Which is similar to how blades work in Xenoblade 2, because you need the power of blades to be able to raise up your power and grow more affinity with them. But even more so, the Anima Crystones are like very similar to how Omnigears work in Xenogears, with vessels of with the vessels of Anima or Anima relics basically powering them up, which the Omnigears basically, like, you can use them to control your thoughts or actions as well. So, and basically every aspect about their lives revolves around the Crystones as well. So I kind of also like the look of the academy as well. I mean, a lot of people compared this a lot to Fire Emblem Three Houses with its academy and how it looks like that, but I honestly don't know if that comparison is justified, because there's a lot of RPGs out there that have like an academy like this. Like, you just look at that, like, and I'll get to like my actual thoughts on this at a later point. So, hey, look, a Nietzsche rock. Okay. But right here, I just want to show off that, like, I think the characters have a chance to, like, change their outfits here, because I think the outfit, like, earlier here looks a little bit different. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if the characters can change outfits, but it kind of looks like you can here, just judging based off of this. So yeah, like I said, I don't know if the characters can change their outfits, but it would be really nice if they did change their outfits here. So, but that gets on to my next point, which you see Eleanor right here have a pointy ear right here. In fact, most of the characters in this game have pointy ears, as we so soon get to right here. See all these characters with pointy ears? There's also some characters with rounded ears as well, which make me wonder, like, what about, like, is there gonna be some kind of, like, conflict between the people with pointy ears and round ears? Because it's kind of interesting knowing that. A lot of people have pointed these pointy-eared people very closely to the Sumerians, but, like, so if you see, like, people that only have rounded ears and people that have only pointed ears, it's kind of hard to say that it's very close to Samar culture, because all the people in Samar have pointed ears, whereas some people have rounded ears here. So, but actually going back to this little piece of gameplay right here, it's showing 3 characters walking around all at once, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, because, like, if we go from Xenoblade 3 6 characters back to 3 characters, it makes me wonder, like, why they had to change that. So it's really interesting to see them go back to this smaller form of gameplay, which hopefully we'll get to see gameplay of it in a few more months, maybe in the September Direct or Fall Direct or anything like that. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Alright, so we get some mounts right here. These dog-like, horse-like creatures also have pointy ears, which is really funny of how, like, many characters just have pointed ears in particular, so... Yep, so we get, like, a cutscene right here, which I'm thinking is probably out of context. Like, it's not what you would say in the cutscene. Oh, wait, I just realized, just from this trailer alone, she literally split that rock in 2. Like, that's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, you know, the Xenoblade games really have great, like, cinematography and choreography in particular, especially this scene right here. Which gets to my next point right here, because, like, there seems to be, like, we're gonna get introduced to the conflict about, like, what the Vesselized job is supposed to be. Whether it's for, like, killing, or, like, just anything else in particular, so... I don't really have much to say on this. I mean, we have a character that, like, shoots, like, a ball of light into the sky. Maybe it has something to do with Xenoblade 3 and motes and whatnot, as well as sending, like, Anima out like that. So, I don't really have much to say regarding this part. However, I have a lot to say about this, though. So, this dragon right here is very interesting to me, because, like, it looks kind of like a similarity to a Telethia and a Titan from Xenoblade 2. I'm not saying that, like, the designs are, like, absolutely, like, the ancestor of Telethia in particular, but the designs, I can't help but see the designs, like, very similar to each other. So below the bottom right here, it says that a dragon's flame can redeem a soul forsaken in their faith, which is kind of interesting, because this is kind of like how Anima, like, works in Xenosaga. Is that how death in particular, like, it should be rested in peace from using Anima in that way. Whereas here, like, using the like, from this character right here saying it seems like that like this dragon will be able to have, like, a redeeming factor towards it with just its breath alone. Not saying, like, that's actually gonna happen. Like, I would say it's probably, like, a metaphor in particular about, like, where the plot is going. But it's definitely, like, really interesting writing there, so... So, I actually find this interesting right here before we get to, like, the main antagonist of the story, or one of. You see Eleanor getting ambushed by this antagonist right here. She calls her, like, a backwater noble, which is kind of an interesting way to describe that. So, what this metaphor basically means is that someone who lived in a world cut off from the world that they're currently living in right now. So, for instance, if you're living in a world filled with Anima Crystones, then like you basically get the more power out of you, which is when you were a backwater noble, you don't have much of a chance. And we see a little bit of the plot earlier here with Eleanor, who wants to join the academy by using a blade that she considers honorable, and use it as a weapon imbued with anima in it, with the Anima Crystone. I honestly find this interesting that like she would kind of go out and say that. So right here is another piece of text that I find interesting. So like I said before, I'm taking this out of context. This does not appear in this scene in here. So there is people in Anshar that don't use Crystones to use anima actually. So it makes me think, is this character like born with powers passed on, or is there another character that was born with the powers passed on to them when they were born? It's just something interesting that I happen to notice. So now, and then right here, I just want to go ahead and say this, that like this is definitely like a good example of like the differentiating character designs between Saito and the character designers who did Ino and Masha in Xenoblade 3, because like this game's designs of the characters, especially this one right here, are very, very, I feel like are very, very different than what Xenoblade is typically, which I welcome it wholeheartedly. I like some of the character designs in general. I'm not sure much about the outfits, because like it's all academy uniforms, as you can see earlier here. Like, we got, like, a whole ton of academy uniforms, and usually I don't really do well with these designs because, like, I mean, they kind of look all the same in general, and I kind of want it to be a little bit differentiated, but I have hope that there's better character designs than just these for when it comes to outfits. So, okay, so I actually want to point this out real quick. So this, like, this object right here, people think this looks like an Ouroboros form. I don't think it is. It's definitely, like, a different feel than an Ouroboros, and we'll get to see what the name of these are at a later point, so. Or like, the Mobius, like the Mobius characters, too, so. So we get a little bit of a run through for what looks to be some of the secondary characters, or maybe some antagonists. I'm just gonna scroll through them real quick until we get to... Okay, I had to backtrack a lot to get to it, but it's this cat-like character right here that I want to put some notes on. And I feel like this cat-like creature in particular, I feel like is a suitable replacement for Napon. I don't know, I don't want to say that, like, Napon are completely replaced, because I like Napon a lot, but, like, I wouldn't mind, like, having, like, a differentiating, like, cat-like character in this game, so... So, I don't really have much to say about the run-through of these characters, because we don't really know what their names are. They could be, like, companions that Eleanor comes across. Well, like, it's most likely that they are, but we don't really know, like, a whole lot of them. Like, this guy, I don't really have much to say on him. So let's go ahead and continue on to the climax of this trailer. Oh yeah, this guy looks really pissed off. It looks from me judging it, it seems that like this person lost this character due to Anima, and he or she gets really pissed off about it. So now, here we get to the climax, which, I mean, it looks really good. Like, we got all these moats around here and stuff. Right here, it shows the main party right here, of 5 coming up. With really good cinematography. With a 6th one being in the middle. What she's doing here is she's sending light all the way up to the sky, and as you can see, just for a brief moment, there was 5 suns in the sky, right here, but the next light in the sky is actually a 6th one. So we'll get to see it later in the trailer, but here's what I actually find very interesting. So this little, I think this is like some kind of like sunflower bud or something like that, or something related to the sun, or like some kind of sapling. It's showing 7 buds right here, which I immediately thought when I saw this that this is a reference to Xenoblade 3 with the whole 7 motif going on right here. We still don't really know what this means yet, but judging by like the amount of buds right here and the amount of suns, I feel like there's something regarding like the sun, this imagery right here and the amount of suns that it has. So yeah, this game looks so good. Even the cutscenes look great. As you can see right here, a new sun is born right here in the sky with the sixth sun. Now, if we go up a little bit more... Yeah, right here. I gotta scroll back. Right here is like some ruins that the characters go towards. We don't really know what they can be. But we also see a lot of stuff in the sky, like right here. Like we have this like snow area or country, or this land that's above the clouds right here. This is called a Dyson sphere, which is a hypothetical megastructure that mainly can encompass a star, but it can also encompass planets as well, and I can see like these land formations in the sky like being a part of that huge Dyson sphere, and it makes me wonder, are we going to explore these areas in the sky as well? Like that would be very cool if that were the case, because a lot of RPGs like typically have us go into some place that's in the sky, but seeing it kind of like up close and like highly detailed like that is like very interesting to see. So now we go on to the final line here, which is talking about like a fallen god, the vengeance of a fallen god, which is kind of similar to Anshar, which if you read on the Wikipedia page, is kind of like a god that like was a jealous god in a way, and like it kind of reminds me of a Gnostic demiurge and what it will do in the future. So yeah, got a lot of symbolism of Takahashi with here. We got the Anima and Animus with Jungian psychology, and we also got, like, Gnostic stuff going on. But I saved the best for last. Xenoblade Genesis is the name, which, if you recall from a lot of religious texts, Genesis typically means that it's the beginning, or the beginning chapter of the book. And honestly, you cannot be serious, Takahashi! Another Bible game with Jungian psychology thrown in? Yeah, that's what I had written in my notes here. But one last thing that I want to talk about regarding this trailer is the logo itself. It's more like crystallized looking right here, which makes sense because this game has to do a lot with crystals. You see crystals everywhere in the land and stuff like that. But you also, like, see, like, this light coming out of it, like, light reflecting or, like, coming into it and somewhat. So it's an interesting design for the logo. It kind of reminds me of, like, if Ether or Anima go into the crystals, which is kind of like how the Anima Crystones are like a foundation to the game itself. So, but yeah, that's the trailer. That's the analysis. Definitely let me know if I'm missing anything. But I want to go ahead and give my thoughts on the game itself. Honestly, like, I definitely want to see more just to get more excited about it. Like, obviously we got like the plot elements and stuff. It feels very traditional, like, with JRPG plots in my eyes, but it has a lot of like Jungian part in it and stuff. But honestly, that's really okay, because like I really enjoy like Xenoblade's worlds, and they're a lot more than meets the eye. Like there's definitely a lot more stuff that we don't know about Xenoblade Genesis other than what's shown off in this trailer, and that gets me even more intrigued and excited. And I'm gonna go ahead and announce that Xenoblade Genesis monthly updates are coming, starting next month. If there happens to be any monthly updates, I will update all of you on that. But in particular, just my final thoughts on this, like, I am really intrigued on where it's going, but right now, like I said, the designs of the characters and like maybe possibly the music, but like we only heard a little bit. Like I know Yasunori Mitsuda and Procyon Studios are amazing composers, but having the absence of Ace and Hiramatsu is kind of strange to me. I don't know why they haven't really appeared here yet, and hopefully they might be coming along soon because they always do great stuff in the great music for the Xenoblade games. But I definitely do think the character designs, like I want to just see more of the character designs just to make me form an opinion on it, because a lot of them, like, they're pretty cool, but they're only showing up for a few seconds, and then the rest of it is like kind of like the same box standard character designs. Not to say that they're bad or anything, it's just not kind of my taste in particular, but I'll get used to it. Same thing with Xenoblade 3's designs, which I also find truly amazing. So, but yeah, that should wrap up for Xenoblade Genesis. I also want to apologize about like the delay of the Xenosaga and Xenogears news. I'm gonna have to delay it just by a little bit, just to be able to do a collab about all the news that just came out for Xenoblade with Xenoblade Genesis, as well as the Switch 2 updates for Xenoblade Chronicles 1 through 3, and I'll definitely be talking about them a little bit more and what my expectations are. So, but yeah, that's it for all of you guys today. If you want to check out my other videos as well, definitely check them out on my channel. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and also ring that notification bell if you want to see videos like this one. Anyways, until next time, see you on the other side!